I want for the thrill. I can finally fucking sing this song on stream. I'm so happy. Oh my god, you have no idea how many times I've coming in with like the most energy in the world because I'm so happy I can finally like talk about this fucking song. You have no idea. This song has been stuck in my head for months and I have had to like actively stop myself from singing it on stream multiple times. I remember like in particular I got like really close during one of the Half-Life streams with Sophie just to like hum to myself. I almost just started going la 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 la, and then I was like, fuck no, I can't do that. Hello everyone. Hello there. Stream heads and VOD heads watching on Snapcube 2.5 Final Mix. Hello. How's it going? I'm coming in with a lot of energy because this is like this is a big deal. The stream today, we're just gonna get up to more Pokemon, and I'm very excited about that. The return of DLSS. Been gone for a few days. It's been a little crazy, as you can probably imagine. And with Halloween coming up, we have like some Halloween plans we're trying to get in order. So things are gonna be a little slow. I've been saying as much though. You know, it's just like it's very busy around here. I am hoping at some point in like mid to late November, I should be able to like really ramp up with streams again, but we'll see. I don't know. No Halloween plans for stream specifically. I should mention. I'm talking about like, you know, we're having like a little, we're doing like Halloween plans in real life. I don't have any special Halloween streams in mind. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I have not had the like bandwidth to even think about that because my Halloween season release plans are the Kingdom Hearts dub, which finally premiered the first episode, first of 5. We got 4 left. And honestly, if we really want to get like super like specific with it, honestly, there's kind of 5 left because the last episode is like a double length thing. It's like huge. So you're essentially getting 2 episodes in one there. That is how we recorded it. We recorded episode 5 in 2 chunks. So we essentially recorded 6 episodes. You're just getting 5, and 5 is like the big like feature length finale. It's not 2 hours. It's like an hour 20, hour 30, somewhere in that range. But it's like it's movie length. It's a feature length thing. I announced as much with the release of the second trailer. Anyway, I feel like I want to ask, what did y'all think? I feel like most people have already said what they think though. Like I've just been seeing so much like love for it coming into chat. So I really, really appreciate that. I was so nervous. I already adore Wayne's Donald so much. I want to pick him up and shake him around and like I cannot tell you. I'm hyping up Wayne's Donald specifically a lot because I really think for me, something about, you haven't even seen like the extent of how fucking funny Wayne's Donald is. I really do think there's like some fucking gems. There are like multiple lines from Donald throughout the rest of the episodes that I like cannot get out of my head. Like that I'm like having trouble not just reciting right now. Episode 1 definitely doesn't give Goofy and Donald a ton to do. And honestly, Kingdom Hearts 1 in general doesn't give Goofy and Donald like a ton to do as like individuals, you know? So I feel like Wayne and I had a really tough task kind of like slotting in like quips and little character moments and interactions and stuff sort of like sandwiched in between these gigantic, like larger than life characters and stuff that were being created. Episode 1 is not necessarily, I would say, the best showcase of what we get up to as Donald and Goofy, but I'm so excited for you to see. Wayne's own character development throughout is so good. I know, and like it's so funny because like, you know, I've like seen him talk about his own performance, and he's very he's a little down on himself sometimes about Donald, and I just want to be like, dude, it's so good. You have no idea that, but like I feel like that's kind of my role as like the project lead of these things in general, is that there's always like a couple people who are like, I don't know if I did a good job, just because the format is so like messy, you know, and it's so easy to come in with like an idea of what you want to do, right? And then it gets lost in the shuffle. Like the real-time fan dub format, it's so easy to just just drop things through the like sand through your fingers, you know? Like it's so easy to just completely lose sight of what you originally wanted to do. It's messy and complicated, exactly, Marcy. But like the thing about it is that that's kind of the point, you know? The goal is to really like bring everyone together with all of their individual ideas of what they want to do, and then it gets filtered through the chaos of a piece of media that already has its own pacing in mind. You know, like we are completely at the mercy of the pacing of Kingdom Hearts, which, you know, and then that all comes together, and like you get it, you know, you get the idea. And so I think it's very common for someone to come out of the raw recording and just be like, I'm not really sure if I did like a super good job, but everyone else did great. You know, they're always like super nice about everyone else, but then, you know, they're kind of like, I'm not really sure if what I did was worthwhile. And like I am telling you as like someone who I'm the one organizing this project. I have a lot of like just a lot of love for the potential of the show. I genuinely feel like there are more lines that I quote from Donald on the daily than any other character, I think, besides Sora. Obviously, Holly Sora is like the beating heart, no pun intended, of what's going on here. She's so good and absolutely knocks it out of the park. But like, I'm just saying, I'm so excited for Donald. So I'm really glad that people seem to be enjoying the Goofy and Donald side of things as well so far. I you know, not to pat myself on the back too much, I do think I have some good Goofy moments coming up pretty soon. I think honestly the way that I ended up I've been joking every so often that the way I played Goofy was essentially just fandub Sonic with a southern like country accent. You know, he's very chipper. He's like yes-anding to a fault almost, where like he will go along with literally anything and respond like with the most like enthusiastic version of what you could possibly respond with. So honestly, I'm kind of hard on myself about Goofy sometimes because I'm like, I maybe could have like given him a little more to do, but that's getting ahead of myself. I do think that it works out though, and I am excited for y'all to hear some of the fun Goofy lines. But also, hey, I can finally talk about the fact that I play Maleficent, which to me, I'm so excited because I feel like Maleficent is like the standout character in my lineup, and y'all haven't even seen shit yet. That's the fun part. So you haven't even fucking seen what's up with Maleficent. And I'm not gonna say anything except that she sucks and it's awesome and I love her so much. And the thing happened to me where I am on the other side of recording a fan dub and have now become so attached to the character that I played, in spite of the fact that I had not really had much attachment to them prior. I look at Maleficent now and I just get a smile on my face because I think about how much fucking fun I had. How do you decide on roles? So basically, you know, it's really not super organized, except for this one where there was like a multi-step process of casting this one. I'm not gonna lie. So we had basically what happened was, and I will say, I don't want to get into like all of the behind the scenes details right away because we do kind of have like tentative, I don't know how much I should show our hand here. We do have like tentative plans as to like a way to deliver some fun behind the scenes tidbits in the future. We'll see. We're still kind of in talks about that. It's not official or final yet, but we have talked about the fact that we really want to, you know, do like a commentary of sorts. But you know, we're still figuring that out. So I want to hold on to some stuff for that, but essentially, the process of this one was like over a year ago, like a long time ago. I messaged Holly and I was like, "Hey, so you know, we're doing Kingdom Hearts, and I wanted to make it a crossover. Could you like sort of bridge the gap here and gauge interest from other RTVS members about whether they would want to join and, you know, do some Kingdom Hearts stuff?" She got back to me. She was like, "Yeah, a ton of them are interested." She was like, "Yeah, a ton of like, yeah, a lot of them would really want to do that." So, we basically were just like, "Okay, we'll take whoever you got." And so I sent her the link to our like little organization server, and you know, we had a bunch of people file in, and then at that point it was like, okay, I came in with who I wanted to play Sora, Donald, and Goofy, and then whoever I wanted, and then I had some holdover roles, because what was funny is that when Holly reached out to everyone in our TVS, I specifically like got telephoned back to me. She was like, "Yeah, a lot of them would love to do it, and also Wayne wants to play Ansem." like that was literally the specific request that I got. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, we'll do that." So I had some holdover requests. Joy really wanted to play Riku. Like literally from the very moment we had talked about doing a Kingdom Hearts dub, she was like, "Can I play Riku?" And I was like, "Yeah, duh, absolutely." So I had holdover requests for Joy as Riku and Wayne as Ansem. And then me personally, I came in with my sort of vision of the main trio, Sora, Donald, and Goofy, which is like, I was like, okay. I definitely I heard out some other versions of this, and we sort of talked and giggled about the possibility of like, you know, Scorpy as Donald. Which was it was sent to me as like a clip example from like a stream, and we had a chuckle about that for sure. But I was like, listen, you have to understand. I feel like Sora, Donald, and Goofy needs to be Holly, Wayne, and me in that order, like respectively. And so I came in like really sort of banking on that specific idea, and then I had the two holdovers. So that was 5 characters that were pretty much immediately casted, or at least like had like hypothetical castings in some way. And so from that point, it was literally a matter of like, once we kind of had everybody in the group chat, and we were talking about like plans for like scheduling and stuff, I was like, I would like to get as many people as possible into a call so we can like not only do practicing, but also like figure out casting together. So from that point, the next step was I brought everyone into a call. I got a spreadsheet going of all of the characters that appeared in the footage that I had recorded and edited together. And it really just came down to, okay, who wants to play Winnie the Pooh? And then it, you know, it'd be like a couple beats, and then someone would be like, "I guess I could play Winnie the Pooh." And I'd be like, "Okay, cool, you're playing Winnie the Pooh." And then I'd be like, "Okay, who wants to fucking play Geppetto?" We'd be like, "I think this person would be good for Geppetto." It's like, "Okay, cool, you have the role." And so we basically just went down the list, and I got like volunteers for all of the cast members. And then I forgot Geppetto's in this shit. Yeah. Yeah. They're actually genuinely, when we get to that point, that there is a scene with Geppetto that does have one of my favorite exchanges in the entire thing. It's a very short, it's like a 2-line exchange, but it fucking cracks me up. I think about it. I was literally thinking about it earlier today, just chuckling to myself. But yeah, then from that point, there was like a third step where I was like, I really, really, really wanted to do my best to make sure that everyone kind of had at least one episode in both recording sessions where they played like a big role and they were able to really like kind of like stretch their legs and do something with a character, right? I wanted to make sure everybody got a showcase character at some point, right? And not only that, I wanted to make sure that there wasn't too much imbalance with the amount of characters any particular person got, which was really, really difficult. And honestly, I do think I could have done a better job at like deliberating not only quantity of character, but like the length in which they're on screen. Because I do think a couple things ended up being somewhat imbalanced there in terms of like how long certain characters are featured, even though they were like counted as one full character, but that's something to talk about later. But essentially what I did was I separated it into 2 recording sessions, and I had the spreadsheet kind of just like count how many roles every person had. And so, you know, I kind of let the main 3 be weighted a little bit. So I didn't give Holly, Wayne, or myself too many. Well, actually, I'm gonna be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did take a lot of extra characters. and there was kind of a reason for that. And I swear it wasn't just me being greedy. I did also just kind of feel a responsibility to be there sometimes to kind of like help move things along, if that makes sense, because I've been doing this shit for years. But that's neither here nor opulence, yeah. The penny tax. I don't know. I feel like honestly, I'd have to look at how the spreadsheets were laid out to really like confirm or deny, but I do kind of sometimes feel like I was like, okay, maybe you also had to be UV for and I'm UV. I know. And like it's really funny thinking about the fact that originally I actually kind of wanted to take Kyrie. And I was gonna give Sophie Maleficent, and then I was like, actually, no, there's a better way. I was like, we need to swap these 2. And I asked her to swap, and she was like, yeah, go for it. I cannot believe there's a version of this dub where Sophie is, or I cannot believe there was potential for there to be a version of this dub where Sophie is not Kyrie. Sophie's Kyrie is fucking perfect. Like, actually spot on perfect vibes. Like, she nails it, and you haven't even seen nothing yet. Like, episode 1 is good. There's like one scene in particular later where I'm like, dude, I don't even think I could have done what she did with Kyrie in one particular scene. Like, it's so fucking good. Like, I genuinely watch this scene that I'm vaguely referring to back, and I'm just like, wow, life is so special. But yeah, so casting was definitely more complicated than it's ever been, because this is the most cast members we've ever had in a single project. And also the most characters we've ever had to cast all at the same time. And with it being a crossover and stuff, you know, there's a lot of people who doing this for the first time. Like, half of the cast is like first timers. And so that comes with a weight of responsibility of like, you really want to make sure you're putting people in places where they feel like they can thrive, because that helps them be a little bit more confident in what they're doing. And honest to God, confidence is like the make or break of these projects sometimes, when it comes to like, you just need to come into a scene and just start saying anything. And that's really hard for a lot of people doing it for the first time. There's a lot of hesitation you will find with people doing it early on, where like they feel like they have to say the right thing, you know, and it's like maybe not even consciously, but it's like, it is more important that you say anything at all rather than just kind of like linger. Unless the lingering is the joke. and I still have, even in this dub, I still have moments where I just fuck up and I just stop talking. And I honestly think as long as you can hit either extreme, it's probably gonna get a laugh from someone, and it's probably gonna be me because I laugh at everything, and I'm not just like I just because I have so much. I just find so much joy in this format. I don't know what it is about it. It just really fucking tickles me, and I think it's because it's like playing with dolls. You know, it's like I described it recently as like the reason why I love making these videos is it literally is like playing dolls with my friends, and it's like such a specific vibe that I enjoy so much, and I just get such a kick out of people saying stupid things as characters that I like. And so you know, as long as you're there and playing toys with me, I'll probably have a good time, and it'll probably come out in the edit super fun. It's basically fast-paced comedy RP. True, yeah. No, it really is. It's like the role play of it is really what I love in particular. You and Mars' laughter throughout always make me laugh twice as hard. Twice as hard. Thank you. Thank you. I love that Mar has kind of like joined me as the second cast member who just erupts with glee at everything that happens, because it really I feel like I have like a sibling in this matter now, and it's great. I giggle way too much, which means you giggle the perfect amount. Which means you giggle the perfect amount. If it's too much, it's perfect. I've always maintained that. Ever since the fucking inception of the show. Even before it was on Snapcube, I have always maintained that having everyone in the call audibly laughing is so fucking important to the vibes. Because it really keeps you grounded in the fact that, like, it's just a bunch of people having fun together. Which, you know, actually, you know, makes me want to bring up the fact that, like, I saw a lot of people worried and confused about the fact that the first 6 minutes of episode 1 doesn't feature any call laughter. And there's a very simple reason for that, if you were not aware. I will go ahead and just share this right now. So the first 6 minutes of episode 1 seem rather laid back and sincere and potentially scripted. And that is because they are. It is all of those things. The intro dream sequence to episode 1 was not included in the footage that we used to record. So essentially, I had come up with the idea. Well, there was multiple reasons I did it this way. One is that I wanted to do a sort of Sonic. We did it in Sonic Riders to a much smaller scale. There is a little scripted interaction at the beginning of the Sonic Riders dub, if you remember, where Tails and Sonic are like, you know, here's my friendship application. And that's there to sort of like foreshadow the character dynamic throughout the rest of the dub, right? This is a similar thing on a much larger scale, where I was like, I really want to make the intro to Kingdom Hearts prophetic towards the actual events of the dub that end up happening. So I was like, it needs to be made after the fact so that we can put actual foreshadowing in there. And also, it needs to be scripted for a similar reason. On top of that, and honestly, in a way, this was kind of, to me, a equally, if not more important facet of why I chose to do it this way. I did not want to open up this dub, forcing my good friend Holly to act as Sora fucking about in dark rooms for 6 minutes straight and trying to come up with anything to do with that. Because I knew that, like, this was her first, like, leading role. And personally, you know, I think it probably would have turned out okay. And I think that she probably would have nailed it. But also, I knew that that probably would have been a lot more nerve-wracking. And I wanted to be a little nice about that. And so I was like, we can kind of do, yeah, no, yeah, I like it a lot better. I think I was like, we can kill two birds with one stone this way, and we can inject a little bit of sincerity into the final product of episode 1, at least. Not to say that this project is insincere, but I like the fact that the first 6 minutes of episode 1 kind of maybe give you the impression that it's maybe not like a comedy, which I don't know. I've always wanted to kind of like play around with the tone of real-time fandub every so often. Whenever we get the chance, I really kind of like to you know, like dip my toe a little bit into like drama and other moods. And obviously at the end of the day, it's a silly poop show, you know, like it's a bunch of people dicking around and making jokes about video games. But I always want to leave on the table the sort of potential to, like, you know, take it in a different direction. Like, honest to God, like if there was ever a point in it, like as we were recording a dub, if there's ever a point where I can like say something like really just sincere, or like take it in a direction where it's like a true like interaction, like I become very tempted to do so. Even though it's really tough. It's really tough to deliver on that, which is why I think we sort of like circle around it. Just because it's much easier to say something funny than it is to say something that will pay off. And that feels somewhat counterintuitive, but you know what I mean. So we can talk more about the specifics of how that was done when it is the right time. But essentially, the first 6 minutes are meant to kind of initially come across as like, what the fuck am I listening to? What are they saying? What does any of this mean? And then my hope is that with every new episode, or at least nearly every new episode, I don't know for sure, you can go back and sort of watch it again and get a little bit of something new out of it. Whether that's a theme, whether that's a little bit of just like a bit of foreshadowing that you didn't pick up on initially, or whether it's a joke. There are a couple jokes in there. There are a couple things in that intro that are like meant to be jokes. I know I wrote one line in particular and I was like, I'll just put this in here to be kind of funny. And then I imagine, I get the vibe there's one line in particular that Holly says that was sort of also meant as like a joke. I guess I'm also kind of showing my hand a bit as to how it was done, which maybe I shouldn't be doing, but there's a couple intentional jokes in there, but for the most part, it's like foreshadowing, and food symbols is 100% serious. You know, I'm gonna be honest, that wasn't even the line that I was talking about. I forgot about that one. That one's really like, that one's very clearly. Also, I'm Milk's meat now, which cracks me the fuck up. Yeah, there's a few jokes in there, obviously. Everyone likes your new shoes. His ergonomic clown shoes for boys. Shit cracks me up. But yeah, that's so essentially the rest of the episodes are not going to start that way, obviously, because that's just how the beginning of Kingdom Hearts is. If you're not familiar with Kingdom Hearts, that's just how the game starts. It starts with Sora falling through a bunch of stained glass and having like prophetic dreams about his future. And so we wanted to do a similar thing, so that's why the episode begins that way. But the next episode will just open up on the dub proper. But yeah, essentially, what we actually recorded, the first thing we saw that night was Sora opening his eyes and seeing the sky, and then the first line of the raw recorded dub is Holly going, "I just had that dream about church again," which was a great start. And then, of course, screaming into the microphone. As was the objectively correct choice to do. I do really think, especially, this wasn't even intentional, but I do think that is such a good choice for that moment, in hindsight. Not only because it's really fucking funny, but also that scream is kind of like it's like the alarm clock that like wakes you up from like the surreality of the intro, and like sets you right back into the vibes of like, okay, this is an RTF episode. Like this is a fandom. It's like the exact moment where it kind of like circles back around and it's like, okay, we're doing the thing now. Like, it's so good. I'm like really fucking proud of this video. I'm not gonna lie. And there's still, God, what? Fucking 3.5 hours of it left? Am I wrong? Something like that? There's a lot. There's a lot you haven't seen. Holy shit. When is the next one out? Wednesday. They're coming out on Wednesdays. Every week until there's no more left. So every Wednesday, 4 more times will be when they come out. We are tentatively planning to premiere the rest of them around 7 p.m. Eastern. But if that changes, I will let people know very loudly, but that is the current plan. And I'm very excited. The next one is, I was looking at this today, and I'm going to be honest, I kind of worried myself a little bit because watching the premiere for episode 1, when that episode ended, it genuinely, like, it caught me off guard. I was like, wait, no. I was like, wait, no. don't end now. I really had this moment where I was like, dude, I'm not used to these premieres only being 40 minutes anymore. They're usually like noticeably longer. Because we haven't done like a season of 5 episodes before. And so I had this moment where I was like, fuck, like, is this too short? And I do think the next one probably will not feel quite as jarring. One, just because, you know, it's the second one, but also, given that the first episode does begin with like 6 minutes of scripted stuff, like, I think the actual ratio of like actual improvised dub content in episode 2 is a little bit larger than episode 1 has, because episode 2 is like 36 minutes, something around there. And then episode 1 is like 41 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that. But, you know, if you take off like 6 minutes from that, I think there's like slightly more in episode 2. But this is just me getting like really granular and like kind of weird with it. I'm just this weird way I think about things. I'm just like trying to think of like if it'll feel less jarring, because like we also start to cram a little bit more into each episode in terms of location, I will say. And I'm not going to expand on that. I was thinking about if I could expand on that specifically, but no. Essentially, you know, episode 1 is like it's a lot of setup. So the episodes from here on out get a little bit more varied in terms of like where they go. Yeah, well, it's just like, yeah, the pace of Kingdom Hearts speeds up quite a bit when you actually leave. I'm so excited for episode 2. It's fucking stupid. It's great. It's great. It's like, if episode 1 is sort of like our experiment into like making things that feel a little bit more dreamlike and like slightly sincere, episode 2 is like, we're right back to status quo with just how fucking silly it is. I'm very excited. It's so funny. Traverse Town in my first playthrough felt impossible to escape, so that makes sense. No, I remember, yeah, that place is a labyrinth for a first timer. It's nuts. Oh man. I'm just so excited because like we have like another month of this. I'm just like, I get to just like keep kind of talking more and more about what's happening. There's a little bit of like there's still a lot of like antsiness in me where I'm like, I'm so not used to people having seen like a part of it that we have already recorded. Cause like, I don't know. I mean, the last time we did something even similar with or to the release schedule of this was, oh no, that's not even true. We've never done a release schedule like this for the show. This is the first time, like easily. So I was gonna say Spider-Man, but that wasn't even similar. Like all of those parts were, I'm trying to remember. I think those parts were like separately recorded. I think Spider-Man was a weird one. Spider-Man was supposed to be a single video from the jump. And I'm like, I kind of scold myself in hindsight for not sticking to that and like not being patient. Cause I literally, I think part of it was that we just had so many like technical difficulties at the time getting that one recorded that like, I just got impatient and I just put out like the first part like way earlier than I think ideally I would have, because you know, some people are like, you know, will you release a compiled version of the Kingdom Hearts episodes like you did with Spider-Man? And I say no, because the thing about Spider-Man that made it unique is that honestly, that big 2-hour video was kind of my vision for what that one was supposed to be from the beginning. And so Kingdom Hearts is the exact opposite in that it was made to be 5 separate episodes and to be like experienced as 5 separate episodes. I will have a separate playlist for it though. So if you want to like just kind of like sit and like run through it without having to like skip each one, there will be a separate playlist for the Do No Harm season. It's wild to actually be here and not allowed to talk about my involvement. I know, I'm like so happy. I'm so happy we can talk about the song and just like the fact that I was able to work with Jamie and Marcy on that. Like I've been holding that in for months. I've been holding in the knowledge of what the song actually sounds like for like 2 months, but I've been holding in the fact that it's happening at all for like much longer. Cause I think I reached out to Jamie and like, I want to say, I think it would have been April. I think it would have been, because I think I did it like literally right after we recorded the first session. Because I kind of wanted some idea of what the dub was actually going to be about. I can only imagine the feeling. Torture. It has been torturous. It has been insane. I need it on Spotify. I cannot talk about specifics. I will say that we understand. Like there is a plan. There is a plan to have it exist separately outside of the episodes. You will be able to listen to it standalone eventually. There is a plan. That's literally all I feel like I can say. Because honestly, it's still, we're still kind of like deliberating specific things, but that has always been kind of in the cards. It so perfectly gives Hikaru Utada vibes in a way that quite literally sends a shiver down my fucking spine. I appreciate that. I was so pleased with just how it sounded so early into the process. I was like, what are you eating? I'm applying lip balm. I'm not eating anything. Yeah, it's been extremely surreal to work with them on this song. Like, oh man. I keep saying I'm eating lip balm. Yeah, exactly. I got a big thing. I got a chapstick snack. I can't talk today. That bodes well. I I keep saying this song collaboration is like a dream come true for me, and I really mean it. And it's so awesome. It's so fucking awesome. Works for the character. Yeah, I guess DLSS can also barely speak. It's just like crazy how possible it was to make it happen. Like and cuz I was so I don't know, I was so nervous. I was so nervous beforehand. And then it just kind of like started happening. And then I was just like, "Wait. Wait. Hi, I'm back from ad hell. Sorry, Marcid. Also, thank you. And also, hi. Welcome back. I was just saying my line about how much of a dream come true it is. Except the line is entirely sincere and I mean it every time I say it. I think Penny has said I can't talk today in every CA stream so far. I think I'm just not used to streaming right now. I think I'm rusty. I've been taking these long breaks, and so I just spend a lot of time not enunciating things as if I am on mic. So I get used to mumbling a little bit. I can see why Holly Sora rotates in your mind constantly. Holly's Sora is like one of my favorite characters of 2025 in anything, and I'm being so for real. Genuinely has made like a huge impact on my brain. I've just been taking this little freak and shaking him around in my brain all year. And it's like it's so satisfying to like see other people begin to understand. Cuz I've been holding on to it. I've been holding on to it except when I played Deltarune and then I like let it slip a little bit. How much I fucking love this bit. Which was an accident and then became a sort of homage, but it started as an accident. And now I have people in the comments of this dub being like, "Oh my god, they're doing the Chris voice for Zora," and it makes me want to fucking shrivel up into like, it's like actually want to like tear my arms off every time I read that. My tinge of regret. The consequences. It like started as a completely different voice, and then we had like just recorded part 2 of the raw, and so the voice I started doing like slipped into the like Joe Pera fucking mannerism, and it was so fun. It's like actually really fun to do, and I got addicted. It's exactly what I hoped wouldn't happen. It's been nice that it hasn't been so prevalent actually. Now that the episode is actually out, I feel like you could not have been clearer that the Chris voice is an homage to Holly Sora. Like you were very upfront about it. I think part of what happened is that there was a compilation of me voicing Chris Deltarune moments from my streams that got like really big. And it was essentially titled as just like Penny doing the Chris voice. And I don't think there was a single clip included in that compilation where I like explain why the voice changed at all into the sort of Joe Pera mannerisms. And so essentially, you know, people watch the compilation and it just becomes like this tale of me developing a Chris voice, even though there's a little bit more nuance to it. I was gonna say something. I think I just really underestimated how much people would watch my Deltarune playthrough. I was like I didn't know. But anyway, I was gonna say, I've been pleased that it has been less. What has been happening so far is what I hoped would happen, in that I sort of had the expectation that real-time fandub is always going to be so much bigger than any of my streams, like no matter what, essentially. There's always going to be more people who wouldn't give any of my streams the time of day who will pop in to, you know, watch an episode of RTF. So the larger this season gets, the more it kind of like overrides the consciousness of the fact that I did kind of do a similar thing with Chris when I was playing Deltarune. So far, it's, you know, it has been happening that way. I think more people are just watching it and being like, honestly, more people are saying it sounds like Hank Hill, which is its own funny little quirk. Everyone's like, why does Sora sound like he wants to sell me propane? If you were to ever do Kingdom Hearts 2, would it be considered Do No Harm Season 2? This is a very big, this is not me saying we have any plans to do anything. I'm very much focused in on what we're doing right now. I would say probably not. It would really come down to, hypothetically, it would come down to what the actual dub ended up being about. Because the reason we named it Do No Harm in this instance is a very specific nod to what actually ends up happening. And I'm not going to expand on that, but I will say, you know, we had a few different titles in mind. There was a reason why the first trailer after we recorded part 1, initially I just revealed it as, you know, real-time fandub subtitle pending. Because after that first session, we had a couple ideas of what the subtitle could be, but I wasn't fully confident. I was like, we need to see how it ends. I was like, we need to see where it goes. And so I was waiting until we had the full thing in mind. So essentially, Do No Harm subtitle, I think, came a few days after we had finished recording the full thing, and we were able to kind of look at everything that happened and just be like, ultimately, what was the sticking point of this dub that we did? And there were a couple potential options, but Do No Harm felt very appropriate, and you will see why. But hypothetically, I did have, oh God, I'm trying to think of how much I should say. I have been thinking about such things. Yes, no? But personally, I do not think if we did anything else in the future, it would be like a Do No Harm part 2. I don't think so. I think it would be something different. I think it would have to be, just because I am treating the sort of full season of Kingdom Hearts as its own individual little dub project, you know? Like, like how we have, you know, Shadow Dub is Real Time Fandom Goes to Hell, and that's its own little thing. And that's like 50 minutes of dubbing. Do No Harm is much longer, and it's split up into more parts. But I think of it as a single entity overall when it comes to like the branding and everything. So it gets its own subtitle. And then if we did anything similar, it would get its own subtitle. And it would just come down to what it's about. We all do Southern accents and we call it Do All Farm idea for future. We're gonna have to have a talk about you like spoiling our plans like that. Like that was so I can't believe it. That was so like internal, and you just brought that out. I can't remember if you mentioned Do No Harm being the series title when you suggested it as a theme for our lyrics. I'm not gonna lie, the way I remember it is that when the lyrics had begun to be like worked on, I had only said that the title was Do No Harm. And I think Jamie just extrapolated that into the chorus. I don't even remember suggesting that Do No Harm be in the lyrics, if I'm being so honest. I think it was just kind of like a mutual understanding that it was a theme song to a show that was called Do No Harm, and so it should probably be in there somewhere. I could be remembering it wrong. But I don't even think I asked for it. I think it just ended up in there, and I was like, yeah, that's about right. We are rolling Mar up in a big, tight bale of hay, and yep, we're setting it on fire afterwards. Exactly. Thank you. Yes, I've been saying this. Okay. Are there any more secrets I can divulge before we play a video game? Why did I make this a Pokemon stream? Why is this not just me talking? Why is this not just a talking stream? Probably because I want to play Pokemon. Yeah, now that I think about it, I do want to play Pokemon. Damn, fuck. Yeah, it was just something you mentioned as a guidepost. That makes sense. Did I like write it down? I don't know. We can talk about that. I did see you, I don't know if I acknowledged it, but I did see you say earlier that you wanted to find a way to like talk about behind the scenes stuff for the theme specifically. I would love to like find a way to work that into our existing quote unquote plans. They're very loose plans right now, but I would love to kind of find a way to work that out. I have an idea of how we could make it happen, but I have yet to run it by everyone. Anyway, I do want to play Pokemon, so we're gonna do that. But yeah, that's it. Episode 1. Do No Harm. Oh, really quick side note. I just want to say, this I'm very pleased. This is the most I have ever seen anyone actually acknowledge the subtitle of a real-time fandom. Like the quote unquote official subtitle, because I don't put them in the YouTube titles because that's bad for like clickability. Nobody knows what the fuck Do No Harm is, right? Everybody knows Kingdom Hearts Real Time Fandom episode 1, right? But like straight up, even before episode 1, no, that's not true. I just feel like I have seen way more people calling it Do No Harm, and it's made me very happy. I mean, I still sometimes refer to it as KH dub because it's like easier in certain circles, but like I don't know. I just feel like I just call Rune Mountain. I think Rune Mountain is like the vibes of Rune Mountain is the only other one that has gotten even close to people acknowledging the subtitle as much as they do with Do No Harm. But even then, I feel like Do No Harm is already reached like far and beyond what even Rude Mountain did for that. Cause like nobody fucking calls the Shadow the Hedgehog fan dub Real Time Fan Dub Goes to Hell. Honest to God, not even I call it that. Like that one was just that one didn't stick around much. I still like it. I think it's funny. I like it being there, but nobody calls it that. I don't even call it that. I just call it the Shadow dub. But like, I don't know. Do No Harm has kind of got its own vibe. Sonic Riders subtitle was like the importance of respecting your friends or something like that. The Sonic Riders title is so it's Real Time Fan Dub and the Necessity of Change. That was the Sonic Riders dub. That was when so the thing, and this is just like a general RTF tidbit. The thing that inspired me to start doing these like quote unquote official subtitles in the first place was the Resident Evil 2 dub. When that came out, that was the first one that had one. And the reason I did it for that one, it's really specific and weird. But it was when Birds of Prey was coming out, the DC movie, the DC extended universe movie, Birds of Prey. That movie came out and it had like this like crazy like long subtitle that was like official. It was like in the official marketing and stuff, and I think it was like on the titles and stuff. It was like Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, right? I think that's the full title. And I loved it. Like I looked at that and I was like, I don't know. It just like scratched my brain. And so we were making the RE2 dub, and the running, that was one of the first dubs we did where it was like, this feels like it has more of like a narrative and it's not just like a series of skits, right? And so that kind of like narrative push being centered around the character of Floppy Feet, I was like, I had that subtitle in my brain and I was like, I need to just like you know what it was? I was like, I need to signal to people that this one has like more of a story, or at least an attempt at a story. And so I was like, I want to give people the impression that there's a little bit more to pay attention to with this one. And so I was like, it's Real Time Fan Dub Games. That's what it was at the time. I was like, it's Real Time Fan Dub Games. And then underneath it, the examination of Club Penguin user Floppy Feet. And I was like, that it scratched my brain in a similar way as the Birds of Prey title. And it's just like really funny. And it's like such a weirdly funny, like evocative sentence to put in front of a project like that when nobody had seen it before. Cause like, what the fuck does that mean? like what could that possibly mean in the context of a Resident Evil fan dub? And that's what it ended up being. And so after I did that, I became very attached to the idea of creating official titles and like official synopses for these projects. If you notice, the recent dubs in like all of the trailers and stuff, they all have like an official synopsis that I like write myself, and I try to sort of legitimize the narrative of each dub by describing it in very clinical terms. And honestly, I'm very excited because with the Kingdom Hearts dub, I get to do that per episode now. And so if you want a little treat, just a little fun treat, on the watch page for every episode, look in the description, and there will be like a little synopsis about what the episode is about. And I've just been writing those. And it's been fun. So it was Resident Evil. We did the examination of Club Penguin user Floppy Feet, and then Sonic Riders came next, and that one was the Necessity of Change. And at the time, all of the titles, I wanted them all to have like this kind of like extended, overly like verbose kind of vibe. And so they're all like kind of They're all like kind of long. And then Until Dawn, Rude Mountain, the vibes of Rude Mountain kind of was a little bit of a turning point where it's still like it's like comparatively wordy. Same amount of like words as The Necessity of Change, but it's a little bit more punchy. I don't know. It's like a little bit more, it's not like going out of its way to be like verbose. It's just the vibes of Rude Mountain. Like that is what it's about. And it's sort of like a double meaning kind of title. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm keeping the subtitles, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make them like Birds of Prey style. And so then with the next one, it was Goes to Hell. It was just like I just tried to set the precedent of just it being like this very punchy kind of, it is just what the episode is. I didn't know there were subtitles names. The Credits Ignorer. They're in the opening credits of every single one after Resident Evil, including Resident Evil. Just gotta look closely. Do No Harm feels small in comparison, but it's very good. Yeah, no, I think it's very punchy. It's just very what it's about. My pet peeve watching reactions is when they skip the intro. Can I be so honest? Me too. And actually, no, I think my real pet peeve, and obviously you could do whatever you want. Don't let me, like, if you're a reactor watching this and you skip the intro or anything else, is fine. Like, don't let me stop you. But also, I will say, my real pet peeve when it comes to dub reactions is when they skip the credits, like the closing credits. Cause man, these days, I always try to fit like some kind of a banger or some little bonus thing into the ending credits. Every time I watch a Shadow fan dub reaction and they don't listen to the Satan rap, it does kind of grind my gears a little bit. I get like a little bit of, because I was like, man, dude, Scout and I worked so hard making that fun and funny. And it's supposed to be like just a fun little moment to like close out the thing. It's like as important to the full package as anything else. I honestly, I think it's partially my mistake because the credits do open up just playing Final Haunt for a little bit. It's like the intro to Final Haunt. And that plays for maybe like a few seconds. And then I come in with my initial verse and it's revealed like, oh shit, it's like a cover. But unfortunately, the part that doesn't have original vocals over it is long enough that I think most people get bored and leave. If you stay for just a little bit longer, you'll hear the Satan rap. It's awesome. I talked about that longer than I wanted to. You can't ask me a question or get me on a tangent because then I'll talk for a long time and nobody wants that. Does this have audio that exists?